My name is Sarah Johnson. Until just a few months ago, I would have introduced myself as a 38-year-old ordinary housewife. But now, my life is in the midst of a major change. Our family lives in a quiet residential area in the suburbs of Boston. My husband, Michael, is 40 and works at a local advertising agency. We've been together since college and got married right after graduation. Our son, Jacob, is 8 years old. He's an energetic and curious little boy. And now, I'm pregnant with our second child. There are just 3 months left until the due date. We know it's going to be a boy, and he's already very much a part of our family. I used to work as a fitness instructor at the local community center. I loved exercising and found fulfillment in supporting people's health. But when I found out about this pregnancy, everything changed rapidly. The first few weeks were smooth. My morning sickness was mild, and I thought I could continue working. But after the 12th week of pregnancy, I started experiencing intense fatigue. I'd get out of breath just climbing stairs, and sometimes even standing up was a struggle. My doctor, Dr. Sanders, advised me to take it easy on the exercise. But as a fitness instructor, there were many situations where I had to move my body. In the end, I decided to quit my job at 16 weeks of pregnancy. As I spent more time at home, I began to notice changes in Michael. He had never shown much interest in housework before, but suddenly he started cleaning and cooking diligently. At first, I was even touched by his smile when he said, "I'm thinking about your condition." But at the same time, I started to feel an indescribable sense of unease. When I ate the food Michael prepared, I increasingly experienced heartburn and dizziness. I thought, maybe it's because of the pregnancy, but something still didn't feel right. In the midst of all this, Jacob started saying strange things. He'd say, "The baby in mommy's tummy is talking to me." At first, I laughed it off as a child's vivid imagination, but gradually, seeing Jacob's serious expression, I began to feel that something significant might be happening. And so, an unsettling atmosphere slowly crept into my once ordinary daily life. The incident at the park that day would change everything. It was a mild, sunny autumn day, the first we'd had in a while. Jacob had been begging to go to the park since morning, so I thought it might be a good change of pace for me too, and we decided to visit Oakwood Park nearby. Michael wasn't home because of work, but before we left, he said, "Sarah, I baked some cookies for you guys. Eat them at the park." He left a Tupperware neatly filled with chocolate chip cookies. His thoughtfulness lately has really been a big help. When we got to the park, Jacob immediately ran towards the playground equipment. I sat on a nearby bench, rubbing my big belly, watching over my son. The soft autumn sunlight felt pleasant, and I was able to relax for the first time in a while. After a while, Jacob came running back. "Mom, I'm thirsty," he said, so I handed him the water bottle we'd brought. Then, I took out the cookies Michael had prepared. "Jacob, Dad baked these cookies for us. Want some?" "Yes." My son happily took a cookie and started munching on it. I took one too and took a bite. A sweet and fragrant aroma spread through my mouth, and it was very delicious. "Mom, these are yummy," Jacob said with a smile. I nodded and took another bite of the cookie. That's when it happened. Suddenly, I was hit by intense dizziness. My vision started spinning, and I felt like all the strength was draining from my body. "Jacob." I managed to call my son's name, but no voice came out, only a choking sound. "Mom." "What's wrong?" I could hear Jacob's voice from far away. But I couldn't respond. My body wouldn't move the way I wanted it to. The next moment, I slid off the bench and collapsed. Lying on the ground, in my fading consciousness, I could hear Jacob crying out and the hurried footsteps of people around us. "Someone help." My mom collapsed. Jacob's desperate cry. "Are you all right, ma'am?" A strange man's voice. "Call an ambulance." Another woman's voice. And then, the sound of sirens. I could see red and blue lights flashing behind my eyelids. The sensation of being lifted onto a stretcher. The swaying in the ambulance. Everything was fragmented, like a dream. The last thing I heard was the paramedic's voice. "She's pregnant. Check the fetus's condition too." And then my consciousness sank completely into darkness. When I opened my eyes, I saw a white ceiling. The smell of disinfectant and the regular beeping of machines. It didn't take long to understand that I was in a hospital. "Mom." I turned my face towards the familiar voice, and Jacob was holding my hand with tears in his eyes. "Thank goodness, you're awake." "Jacob." I tried to stroke my son's head, but I noticed a 4-needle in my arm. "It's okay. Mom is." Then, remembering what happened at the park, I suddenly realized. The baby. I tried to put my hand on my belly in a panic, and Jacob said in a small voice, "It's okay, Mom. The baby is fine. But you know." He looked around and then continued in a whisper close to my ear. "The baby says it doesn't want to be erased by Dad." I caught my breath at those words. There was something in Jacob's serious expression that made me feel this wasn't just a child's imagination. At that moment, the door to the room opened, and Michael rushed in. "Sarah, are you okay?" He hurried to my bedside and grabbed my hand. But at that moment, I instinctively pulled my hand back. "Ah, thank goodness. You're alive," Michael said with relief, but I felt uneasy about his choice of words. Alive. As if he thought I might not be. "Michael, what do you mean?" I asked fearfully. He showed a confused expression for a moment but quickly returned to a smile. "No, I was just worried. I heard you suddenly collapsed." I could understand that explanation, but something still didn't sit right with me. Jacob's words, Michael's attitude, and recent events, everything started spinning in my head. A nurse came in and started checking my condition. "The baby is safe. But you'll need to rest for a while." Those words brought some relief, but at the same time, new anxiety sprouted. Why did I collapse? Was it related to the cookies Michael made? And above all, was the baby really safe? These questions weighed heavily on my heart. A few days after being discharged, I was resting at home. On doctor's orders, I had to take it easy with housework for a while. That's when my old friend Amy stepped in to help. Amy came by almost every day to help with housework. Her cooking had a warm, gentle taste, and for the first time in a long while, I could enjoy meals without worry. "Sarah, your complexion is looking better," Amy said. Indeed, since being discharged, my health had improved remarkably. "Yes, it's strange how much better I feel," I replied. But at the same time, this fact was raising new questions. Why had I been so ill before hospitalization, but now I was feeling so much better? Michael continued to treat me kindly, but something about him seemed off. He started spending more time at home and became overly concerned about my food and drinks. "Sarah, why don't you try this herbal tea? I heard it's good for pregnant women." When he offered me the tea, I smelled it and had a bad feeling, so I declined, saying, "No, thank you." One day, Jacob snuck into my room. "Mom, the baby talked to me again," he said with a serious face. "Jacob, can you really hear the baby's voice?" I asked, half in doubt. He nodded and said, "Yes, I can hear it clearly. The baby says it's scared of Dad. It says Dad is trying to hurt it." Those words sent a chill down my spine. It was too specific and eerie to dismiss as just a child's imaginative statement. "Jacob, did you hear anything else?" I asked with a trembling voice. "The baby says Dad is mixing something bad into the food. That's why you've been feeling sick." At that moment, something seemed to click in my mind. Michael's sudden change, my ill health, and now this surprising recovery, everything started to make sense. "Mom, are you okay? You look pale," Jacob said worriedly. "I'm fine, Jacob," I answered, hugging my son. "Mom is okay. But I need to do something important now." At that moment, I made up my mind. I had to take action to reveal the truth and protect myself and the baby. After hearing Jacob's words, I decided to take action. First, I dug out the baby monitor we had used when Jacob was a baby. I thought I could use this to monitor Michael's actions by hiding it in the kitchen. I also told Amy about the situation and asked for her help. At first, she seemed incredulous, but seeing my serious expression, she promised to cooperate. "Sarah, your safety comes first. Call me immediately if anything happens," Amy said, squeezing my hand. From that day on, I secretly started observing Michael's actions through the baby monitor. For the first few days, nothing unusual happened, but on the fourth night, I witnessed a shocking scene. The monitor showed Michael mixing something in the kitchen late at night. He took out what looked like white powder from a small bottle and mixed it into my breakfast smoothie. When I saw this scene, a chill ran through my entire body. The next morning, after Michael left for work, I immediately contacted Amy. Together, we found the bottle Michael had been using and decided to have its contents tested. The results came back 2 days later. The bottle contained drugs harmful to pregnant women. At that moment, the last of my doubts disappeared. With evidence in hand, I decided to confront Michael. I asked Amy to be present, and we left Jacob with my sister Rachel. That night, when Michael came home, I calmly told him, "I know everything you've been doing." Michael showed a moment of agitation but quickly composed himself. "What are you talking about? Sarah, are you feeling unwell?" "Enough, Michael. I'm talking about the drugs you've been mixing into my smoothies." I showed him the baby monitor footage and the drug test results. Michael's face changed color. "Sarah, it's not what you think. This is a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? When you were trying to kill me and the baby?" My voice trembled. At that moment, Michael's attitude completely changed. "That's right, I was trying to kill you," he shouted. "If you and that brat were gone, I could be free." Just as Michael was about to grab me, Amy jumped out and restrained him. Then, the police we had contacted in advance arrived and arrested Michael. The truth revealed during the investigation was even more cruel than I had imagined. Michael had a mistress, and he had planned to kill me and the baby to collect the insurance money. Even his sudden helpfulness with housework was all to drug me. "Why? How did you find out?" Michael muttered as he was being restrained. I answered with a trembling voice, "You couldn't hear the baby's voice. But Jacob could." As I watched Michael being taken away, I finally let the tears I had been holding back flow. Fear, relief, and sadness all washed over me at once. Amy hugged me. "It's all right now, Sarah. You were strong. You can be happy from now on." I nodded slightly at her words. It had indeed been a difficult experience, but deep down, I felt that I could now start a new life. A few months after Michael's arrest, I safely gave birth to a baby boy. The baby was healthy, and I felt indescribable relief and joy that this small life had been protected. The divorce proceedings went smoothly, and at the same time, Michael's trial began. On the day I stood in court, I had mixed feelings of fear and determination. However, by standing on the witness stand and telling the truth, I was able to reaffirm the strength within me. As a result of the trial, Michael received a 20-year prison sentence for attempted murder and harm to a fetus. His mistress was also charged with conspiracy and received an appropriate punishment. When the verdict was handed down, I felt something clear up inside me. It was really over now. When my new life began, I was anxious at first, but Amy, my sister Rachel, and above all, my son Jacob supported me. Jacob was genuinely happy about his brother's birth and became a surprisingly reliable big brother. "Mom, I'll protect the baby," he said with a serious face, which brought tears to my eyes. "Thank you, Jacob. We were saved because you heard the baby's voice." "Yes, but I can't hear the baby's voice anymore. I think it's because he's happy now." At those words, I hugged my son tightly. "Indeed, we are happy now. As time passed, the painful memories faded. I resumed my work as a fitness instructor, enjoying fulfilling days balancing work and child rearing. Through that experience, I became stronger. And I learned what true happiness is. The bonds of family, the support of friends, and the power to believe in oneself. These have become the foundation of my new life. Now, I'm walking towards the future with hope. There may be difficulties at times, but I believe there's nothing we can't overcome. Because I have my precious family, and the strength I gained from this experience. On nights when Jacob and the baby are fast asleep, I often stand by the window and look up at the starry sky. And in my heart, I whisper, "Thank you. We are happy. And we will continue to be, forever." With each new morning, the bonds of our family grow stronger. And I am certain, no matter what difficulties may lie ahead, we will surely overcome them. Because we have love and hearts that believe in each other.